And hello, a very warm welcome. Here we are, Online Darts TV, the preview for tonight's final. I'm Phil Bars, and today joined by Mace the Ace, Chris Mason. Chris, what a week we have had.
Phenomenal, wasn't it?
Unreal.
Absolutely incredible. James Richardson Thursday night. Well, all the players. And then when, we thought, well, we're not going to get anywhere near that. And then last night, well, some of the players, again, were absolutely outstanding. I have to say, Keelan Kay, how he went all those games without picking up a win is ridiculous. I think he had a running average of
93, wasn't it?
Yeah,
something
93,
like that?
over 93. On Thursday night, James Richardson had an average of nearly 98 for the night.
Mad.
Yeah, it was special. It was special. Best week for me that I've covered in terms of quality throughout.
Collectively across all three groups, yeah, I completely agree. Normally there's been one or two standout performances, but across all these groups, A, B, and C, just through the roof.
Well, I think that's again for me. I think that's why we've got our best lineup for the final.
Completely. Yeah.
It's a bit of a shame. It's almost as if we could have worked it 6 of the 12. You think about for Champions Week next week, which is obviously another groundbreaking week for the Online Darts Live League, and the second phase of that, which will be week 10, it's up to 12,000, and I mean, every sport has its critics. No matter what anybody tries to do, people try to shit on it, and people have tried to shit on this. Well, who's laughing now?
Completely.
Less Bolex and more Rolex.
Welcome along, everyone. Come and say hi in the chat room. We will answer all your questions.
Yes, welcome along.
When we can. We won't ignore them. We see them in there. G Adventures, how are you all doing? Peter, welcome along. Saldor, Daniel, how are you all going? Pleasure to have you along. We'll talk some general darts in a bit. There's obviously some bad news this week as well, which we'll touch on. There's the live league. We'll have a look at tonight's final. Good luck calling tonight's final.
I did well in the week. I picked Thornton now, and
he was on looking really real.
Even if he didn't go, well, even if he came back, he'd have still been in second spot.
Yeah.
So that was a nice. I think he was 6-1, and I picked him out. Then I picked O'Shea out, and he just got pipped into second by an absolutely incredible Sean McDonald. We'll talk about that a bit more later. And then I picked Kevin Burness out to win Group B.
And only just failed as well. It was absolutely bonkers. But yeah, I felt for Robert because he's in a real tricky situation because he's almost got a world spot.
Exactly.
And I believe that might have changed because of this one, but he's got a Players' Championship spot.
And that as well. 2 good runs in that. Let's not forget. I mean, he is playing well. He showed that completely when he previously played and had to leave.
Yeah.
He went off and had a great Super Series. Did he make the semis or the quarters?
Quarterfinals, I think.
Quarterfinals, but had a really good 4 days. And then in this one, even with the late thing, it wasn't like he played badly. He missed a 9-darter.
Yeah, he lost to Bradley Brooks, but then he picked up a couple of good wins on the final day, and I think it might have changed on about 500 quid off the world.
Getting in the worlds and getting in the players, and good runs there could get his tour card back, and he could avoid going to Q school.
Completely.
So it was our loss is their gain, but
massively, yeah. But that's the pyramid. That's where we are. Is the thing that we want players to come here and go and do well and go on, like David Evans, Keane Barry, Richie Edhards.
People forget those players that have gone on and
completely. And when the challenge tour starts up in August, I expect the ones that have been here competitive to hit the ground running.
Well, especially the younger players, like I said, people like
Gerald Cole,
Keelan Kay, that don't have a lot of experience of playing under the lights. I mean, they're playing in a TV studio environment, in a very competitive environment. So I've said it all along, when things get back to normal, these guys are going to be so far ahead of the rest of the pack. Which is why we said it. We not initially, because obviously we were dipping our toes in the water. Yeah. I think now maybe the PDC should maybe look at players ranked 65 to 128 and give them a pass to play in this, because it's now that we're playing for serious money.
Good practice as well.
Yeah, and competitive practice,
exactly
and in the perfect environment. It is very much like the stream boards at the PDC.
Completely. You've got a marker, there's just 2 of you in it.
It's got a TV feel about it. There's cameras everywhere. you know, you've got all the
Don't pick your nose.
yeah, you've got all the preparation. So yeah, I think it'd be a nice opportunity. I can understand they're protecting their brand. Those, you know, maybe inside the top 32. That, you know, that's maybe, you know, it's common sense on their behalf.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. You know, they wouldn't want, you know, they wouldn't want Michael and Gary and everybody else playing in it. Although they, you know, we get a lot of feedback, and all the players watch it, and they all want to play in it.
Yeah.
Especially now with the, you know, although we're talking about 10,000 next week, 12,000 for Champions Week 2, Week 10. It's going to be going up. You know,
completely, yeah.
The people behind this want it to match winning a Pro Tour. So it becomes the, I mean, it already is the highest prize in amateur darts right now.
Massively, yeah. Right, let's go all the way back. This seems a long, long time ago now. Group A, topped by the madman himself, the Mad Hatter, Richie Burnett. And
that, again, that's how impressive Norton was. When you look at that, he played 5 more matches and only won by 4 points. But he was impressive. And for me, for him to have a chance of winning this tonight, he had to win that group. Because the older, I mean, he's 54.
The rest are good in the world.
He does look well, and he does work, so he's active all the time. But you play 5 consecutive mornings in this, and you're burned by the Saturday. We've seen it before. They literally run out of bullets, literally. So he had a high of 107. He had some really, really good matches where he was tested, and where in previous weeks he's not quite had the tenacity. He showed a lot of this in Group A for the first 3 days. I was really impressed. Yeah,
massively. I say, Robert, unfortunately, Keelan Kay was...
Well, Keelan Kay went through the card on Monday unbeaten, and we were all going, wow. 4 of the 5 players he played had higher averages than him, but he just kept finding a way to win.
Wading.
Yeah, he was wading. He had, yeah, exactly. He had a little wobble on Tuesday, and then...
Back again Wednesday.
And then Wednesday... He had massive issues and couldn't win a game. It sounds like a Craig David song. I said that in commentary. Yeah, but you know, by Thursday and Friday, again, can't find a win, but playing lovely darts.
The Joker, John O'Shea, struggled to start with, first time here, but by Wednesday there was signs that world master form was there. We saw a couple of big averages, a lot of 180s.
I rate him highly. I knew a little bit about him. Yes, he was a surprise winner of the Masters. You know, just come out of the pack and just did the business at the right times. I mean, he beat Scott Waits in the final, didn't he? And Scott Waits is still a very, very high quality player. Flying his trade now in the PDC, not with massive success, but it's the toughest school in darts. So, you know, Michael Van Gogh, we'll see now on a 22 match streak of not winning the tournament.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how tough a school it is right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, and just watching him play, I actually watched him play a bit of online stuff, and he's really good.
There's a lot to like about him.
Yeah, he's really good. He's got a good bottle. First start is finding the red bit. It's a lot of 180s.
If the first one sat plumb upright, you know the other two are just going.
Very much like Rob Collins. Rob Collins, I mean, he played absolutely mustard yesterday.
That 170 to break Webster's heart.
Oh. If you've not seen it,
he's got the clips on.
Mark Webster in his match against James Richardson. Yes, against James Richardson has wired the 170 to win.
Yeah,
and then lo and behold, 2 matches later, he's left a shot.
Everything's on 88 after whatever it was.
Yeah, 9 or 12,
and then Rob absolutely
pins the 170 against
the 170 to beat him. And ultimately, that was the one that did Webby and put him out.
Yeah, that was. How well did he play?
Oh, I mean, to see the action looked good as well.
Well, he played lovely, didn't he? Last summer from home.
Yeah.
Right. It took him a little while to get going. I was chatting to him yesterday, and on Thursday, and I said, "Have you been playing?" He went, "Last time I played was when I played in this at home." I know he's got a board, obviously, at home, and he might have the odd 10 or 15 minutes. He said, but just doesn't bother because, of course, like me, there's no exhibitions. We have no reason to practice.
There's no goal or anything.
No, there's nothing to get ready for. And then what's he start doing? Popping in 107.
107. The old saying, form's temporary. Class is permanent.
Again, another underrated player. You know, one of those players that falls into the trap of bit like football. They think it started with the Premier League.
Yeah.
And most Dart fans are not old enough or knowledgeable enough.
2007, 2008, he was just absolutely tremendous.
Very, very much like Burnett of the mid-90s.
Yeah, completely.
You know, in that period, he won Europe Cups, World Cups.
Biggest one of all.
Yeah, won the Worlds, went deep in loads of other tournaments. He's still only 37, and his career was shortened through injury.
Oh, yeah. Well, we were saying that, we'll come on to Group C in a minute, but he was stood there. His left shoulder is so he's like that at the moment.
Yeah.
And he still produces that, which is
phenomenal player.
Remarkable.
Phenomenal player.
Right, let's have a look at Group C.
And now we have the opposite. Sean McDonald couldn't win a game on Monday.
Yeah. He got, again, Monday, couldn't buy a win. Tuesday, glimpses. Wednesday, something turning. But in these 10 games, he was nothing. Friday, he was unplayable.
Yeah.
Absolutely unplayable.
He was so rock solid. Doesn't have. Who does he remind me of? I mean, he reminds me a lot of Paul Nicholson. He really does, because he's
very
so
deliberate, very
mechanical, precise, beautifully turned down.
Everything has to.
Everything, yeah.
Flights measured to make sure they're at right angles.
Yeah, exactly. You could imagine he does that thing that Gezi does with the bottles and everything else. You see it from a few snooker players. And
everything's got
the idiosyncratic sort of habits. I mean, I remember him playing first time, and I was doing the commentary for that, and he looked okay. I mean, the throw shouldn't work.
I was about to say, the backswing's huge, isn't it?
It's just, but once he got a bit of confidence and he found his feet, he looks, I mean, he doesn't blink either when he's throwing a dart. And he probably looks a little bit arrogant, but he's not in the slightest. He's an absolute
one of the most well-mannered, classic people I've ever met.
He came up to me and he said to me, "Can you remember playing me in Holland?" And I was like, No. He said, "Yeah." I said, "I played you about 2006. And I was like, "Oh God, please don't tell me I acted like a prick." And he was like, No. He said, "You spanked me." And he said, "But that's when we first met." And I was like, I couldn't remember it. It's a good job I won, otherwise he would have said, "Yeah, you were a prick." Told me how lucky I was or something like that. But yeah, there's so much to like about him. And like so many players, like Rob Collins, like Sean McDonald, like your Beverages, like your Jarrett Coles, like your Keelan Caves, we're watching them evolve in front of our very eyes.
Yeah.
We're watching them become better versions of what they were 12 months ago, and that's exciting. I mean, Sean McDonald, you wouldn't want to be playing him on the Challenge Tour or in WDF tournaments or MAP tournaments.
Wouldn't want to be playing tonight.
No, absolutely not. I mean, and he's got his tail up and he fancies it. And you can tell he's playing with massive amounts of confidence. And like I said, he doesn't have that, he doesn't, although he's produced some good performances, he's just so solid. He doesn't do anything spectacularly well, but he just does it all well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Every facet of the game, he is very, very good at. And players like that, it's tough to beat because you just can't shake them off.
We touched on him earlier. John O'Shea played some sensational stuff, especially on the Thursday.
Yeah.
He was really, really good.
Yeah, he cemented his place.
He did all the damage on Thursday.
Yeah, he did the hard work, and then he's got something wrong with his heels. He did tell me what it was. Spurs, is it or something? I don't know. It's Spursy. Yeah, a bit Spursy. Yeah, so that was playing him up yesterday. So he's had a long rest, all afternoon, all night last night, all day today. So load up with anti-inflammatories and then a couple of ciders, he'll be fine.
Warby, a little bit unlucky. Slow start cost him on the first 2 games on Thursday has cost Warby here because he didn't get going until late on the Thursday.
No, he's a little erratic. Again,
when he's on, he's unplayable.
He's come in last minute, hasn't he? He didn't have no sleep. Had to sort out everything.
Drive through the night
through the night from Wrexham to get here. So yeah, not the best proper preparation, but with a throw like that, the only reason why he won't improve is lack of dedication and application.
And that's something he hasn't got. He's always picking people's brains and everything like that.
That throw is
solid.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Completely.
Yes, and again, young guy, massive amount of time on his side.
And then from there, we'll talk about the chat room. We see you popping up. We'll come to you in a second. This group, we spoke about it earlier. Oh my days, this was just a joy to watch. And I know we often wax lyrical about stuff and perhaps we go over the board because it's our product, but this could have been a TV group, as in like a proper TV tournament, the standard that we saw from this group.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, running averages over the 2 days was over 90. You know, you haven't got to go back that far when, you know, although obviously it's slightly less games, but not really over the 2 days in a shorter format. You know, but when you're talking about running averages, that's up there with Lakeside.
Oh, massively, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Really?
you know, and as you know, it's hard to compare it with the PDC because they are the majority are full-time professional players.
It's the elite
It's
of the
the elite.
sport.
It's the best. It's the best. Like trying to compare
The FA Cup to the Champions League.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. I was going to say the Ryman or whatever. So yeah, I think it's unfair, but Kevin Burness, I mean, he's so old school, isn't he? Just stands there pretty straight on, wallops him in, all done on a cup of tea. Which I was like, I called him the other morning. I was like, "What are you doing?" He's having a cup of tea. So what's it work? Never drink tea when I play darts. Caffeine makes me twitch a bit. So he said, "I don't drink when I play." I was like, "What?"
I tell you what I like as well. The players have also,
and that's a huge bonus. Not having a, you know, worry about having a pint, but
especially last night as well. We've realised where the player cam is, and we're getting some great celebrations from them as well. And from Kevin and Roy in particular. They've realised where the cam is.
You see a reaction from Kevin.
Oh, yeah,
he won some real clutch matches yesterday.
When he beat James, because he knew that was the rival run, and he beat James, and we got a great big large into the camera, which is great viewing.
Yeah, I think what was his price when I tipped him up to win that? And I thought after day one, I thought we ain't going to win the group, but again, just some key moments and the fact that he beat James and everything everything sort of fell into place. And James losing to Rob Collins in the final match, who ended up deserving his place in the finals.
Yeah, right, we'll come on to tonight in a minute. Chat room's absolutely rammed. You guys smashing it. Chris will get a wild card. Yeah, you teased us that
as soon as the pubs are open, I'm allowed to just walk into a pub and have an hour's practice with my mates. I'll do that for like a month, and then I'll see if I can get slipped in on a Thursday or Friday night. Sorry, Paul, because you're heathen. Suffer the commentary.
Charlie, good evening, mate. Hope you are well. I can see Vanessa's a good outsider if he can qualify for the World Seniors.
Absolutely.
Good point.
Absolutely.
100%.
No, I tell you what, there's a few of the players who want to draw him over.
Yeah, completely. Pete, hope you are well. Peter says, I fancy O'Shea to win tonight. Look, I can make a case for every single one of those players to win tonight. This is the best final we have had, bar none. I can make a case for all six.
Yeah. Well, they've all shown this week. Every one of them has had a massive average, so every one of them is capable.
Question for Chris. Yeah. If Martin Adams played his A game, could he win a PDC major? Absolutely.
Yeah, but the problem with all the PDC majors is it's the length of the tournament.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing you can't control is Father Time, and he's another player. I mean, his shoulder problems.
Match play would suit him.
Yeah,
the gaps in
between would be ideal.
Yeah,
and the length of the matches, they're not too strenuous. But yeah, has the ability. Could he? Listen, we've last summer. I would have said probably even now he could go deep in anything he entered. But I don't think he's been quite as good this. I
still think if you put him in the Grand Slam, he'd do damage over that format.
Yeah, listen, he's a top quality pro and tough to beat. But winning a PDC major is tough, man. I mean, look at the players that ain't got one.
I'm in some good company.
But yeah, I mean, listen, he's one of the he's in my top 10 of all time. So
yeah, Mark says, hi, I'm new to all this. Mark, welcome along, mate. Pleased you have found us. I think James wins tonight. Yeah, absolutely. Sean doing Aberdeen and Scotland proud with these performances. Completely agree. Hello, this is my first time here, James. Again, glad you have found us.
Welcome along. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit the notification bell. And every time we go live, because every now and again we will pop up with, especially when TV tournaments are on. Me and Barzy will just pop up randomly, and and talk a bit of tungsten.
Outside the PDC, we are the best place to be for darts.
Absolutely.
Obviously, they're the ones that look after the sport and we think, but outside them, here's the place to be. Right, the weekly bracket, how everyone got to the final. Tonight's lineup: Richie Burnett, Kevin Burness, James Richardson, Rob Collins, Sean McDonald, and John O'Shea. And there is how they came through the various groups.
I'd say Monday, Burnett was just incredible to watch, and just some of the reactions and the facial expressions, and just seeing him in the background, because I can obviously listen. I've known Richie for got to be getting on 30 years now, and he's always been the same, and he would never change. He literally wears his heart on his sleeve.
A box of frogs.
Yeah, and he just plays with absolute passion. He
still loves it to this day.
He's still absolutely mustard. If you think, I mean, some of the performances here have been absolutely brilliant. Like I was talking about in commentary, like we go to a tournament and might get knocked out. Richie go on next, and you go on, and they're only best of fives, but he'd go like 11, 12, 11. 12, 12, 12, 12, 13, 12.
Cheers,
but we didn't write the averages down.
No.
You know what I mean? We didn't have no, exactly that. We didn't have that technology in those days to worry about recording averages, but that was the norm. I mean, I've gone 10, 11, 10 in the Somerset Open. Justin Pipe was stopped playing on the board next to me against his opponent. They were just watching it in like, what is this? But that was. That's the kind of stuff they used to have back then. It wasn't, I think a lot of the emphasis why you didn't see those type of averages that you sort of see now, because so much emphasis started to get put on it, and you started to count darts. When you would in Super League, because it was important to get the counting, and you do it in county because you want to get picked for England.
Well, then you start when you get there, you're in the B, you want to have the winning average to get into the A.
Exactly.
Then when you're in there, you want the best average to get the man of the match.
And then we became obsessed on TV with averages. And then, of course, the split, it was, look at the averages in the PDC. Well, now they do it. They didn't do it back then because the averages in the BDO were better. Yeah. Obviously, it slowly made the transition as Unicorn made boards like buckets and bad ones. Leaky ones.
I'll say Gezi weren't happy the other day, was he? But we'll come on to that. We'll come on to that in a
bit. So yeah, listen, I thought he was outstanding on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday actually. And then, like you say, the other five that have came through, ridiculously tough groups, and they all deserve their spot in the final. And I'm be interested now. The groups are separated, 2 small groups of 3.
All these groups.
And the bottom 2 drop out. The bottom 1 in each group drop out. Then we'll have the 2 semis, and then a 3rd and 4th playoff, which is going to be huge because the winner of that match goes into Champions Week next week.
Fixtures are up on screen now.
Richie Burnett against James Richardson in the first match. Oh my goodness! Is that done randomly, that draw?
No, it's set. So where you finish in your
where
group.
You finish.
So it's the same all the way from week 1 to week 4.
Although I'm not being funny for Richie, would you rather play him or Burness?
A couple
of the 2 evils.
A couple of people have asked this on social media.
I mean, I should know.
It's set that if you top Group A, you go into Group 1, and so on. So it's the same all the way through.
And then Burness against McDonald, they had some absolutely cracking matches. O'Shea against Burnett, Collins against Burness, Richardson against O'Shea, and then McDonald against Rob. I mean, I can't pick a winner, so don't even ask. I've had a great week in terms of giving out bets. I gave out 5 winners every day throughout the whole of the week. So the punters that follow me that watch via their chosen bookmaker, I've had tons of messages through Instagram, because that's the only thing I really use, and I don't use that a lot. Like literally going, thanks very much for they're not tips, by the way. They're literally
just on the stats that we get.
We get reams of data via
the crew behind here give us so many good stats. It is unreal. We can
so it's not guesswork, or it's not like
we can tell you what leg they pick their nose in, or
exactly that. Yeah, I mean, I literally know, and especially going into a night tonight, I've got 5 hard days of data to compress before the off. So when I sort of say, I fancy him to 180s, he's 4 to 5 over 0.518. That's literally based on his week's performance.
Yeah. Right, where are we? Weekly Dartscast says, tell Chris, thanks for the question earlier. Not a problem. Saldor, thank you very much. You guys are all amazing. James, he said, so is this every day of the year? No, we do a preview show every Saturday ahead of the final. It'll either be Chris or Nico in with me, depending on who's on.
Yeah.
But the actual darts itself, which starts at 10 o'clock tonight, you have Monday to Saturday in blocks of 5 weeks. There are going to be a couple of weeks off in between. Like, we're not going to go when the match play is on, obviously, and stuff like that. But again, at Darts Live League on social media, we'll keep you up to date, Jamesy, on everything that is going on.
The plan is that we're going to be doing 40 weeks a year of this.
Yeah, look.
And then the 12 weeks will combine with
the world's
match play. Well, there's a month.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much. So around about 40 weeks a year, and then of course they're going to throw in some specials, and I mean, I hope they try and take it on the road and do the odd road show with a few of the star players, so you know, people come and take on them. Yeah. Come and take on some of the players, and don't forget, I mean, people that do shit on it, why aren't you all entering? I mean, if it's, you know, I've seen so much garbage written about, oh, it's crap, the standards this, the standards that one. It's not going to be elite level standard, but if you think you're good enough, why didn't you enter the mad qualifiers?
Well, hopefully they'll be back as well for
have that are coming in weeks
5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah,
they should. After that, I think that's going to continue because it's gone well.
Well, I hope they have. I mean, my idea for it, just this is not what they're going to do, but because it's very regional based, mad, isn't it? They should do sort of like qualifiers live. You know, when things open back up.
Yeah.
You know, and we could have regional qualifiers.
That could easily happen, like you say. And the more important thing, European travel is getting close to being open again. And there is a whole host of players that.
Well, we've got a load of Americans, Canadians who want to play in it. We've got Asian players, Dutch, German,
Belgium. You look at some of the names that didn't get cards at Q School. Christian Kisses, Benito van der Passes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're all going to play, but there's a huge pool of players.
The buzz at the Super Series last week was, you know, from a lot of players, not necessarily the ones that are, you know, the ones at the elite end that are making substantial money, but the players that are sort of scratching around. Like I said, players ranked sort of
65 to 128.
65 to 128. They not only do they want to use it for practice, you know,
make some coin,
make some decent proper dough. You know, and ultimately the winner next week will pick up the same as losing in the final of a Pro Swans.
Completely. When is Tony O'Shea playing? You will see the silverback in somewhere between 6 and 9.
We've got
there's some big names coming in between
Terry Jenkins,
Kevin Painter, Tony O'Shea. Some
Dieter
Hedman as well.
Looking forward to seeing
you will see some absolute unreal legends of the sport on this hockey here at the OD Dome. The OD Dome, we've renamed it. Peter says the standard has been very high. Absolutely. It's been
great exposure too. That's another thing. I mean, we're up around, I think we're approaching like 4 million hits now on the Online Darts YouTube channel. I mean, it's phenomenal. We're doing great numbers on Sporty Stuff TV. And then, of course, we're literally around the world via the bookmakers who stream it on their platform. Great exposure for players and their sponsors.
Oh, absolutely. Superb. Also announced today, the World Seniors qualifiers, the entries open on the 1st of July. And all the details will be released on Tuesday, the 22nd of June.
Ooh. Nervy moments.
Yeah.
I have got to get a dollar for that. That's. I mean, I'm loving every bit about the World Seniors.
The buzz around social media about the World Seniors is absolutely off the scale.
And of course, it's not even been ramped up yet.
I know, we're just ticking along. Some of the shoulder content we've got planned.
Well, there's so many great stories, and of course, if you're the modern generation of dart fans, you know there's so much you need to know about these legends. And talking of that, I mean, we lost one recently, you know, a few days ago, Bruce Spendley.
I suppose we'll come on to that because it's something that how good would it have been if Bruce could have officiated on it? But sadly, we lost one of the most iconic voices in darts. That 180 call was synonymous, and you can even have to have it on the screen. If you heard it, you knew that was Bruce.
Yeah, it's funny. We were talking about it the other day. It's like in boxing. If you watched a great fight and you can't remember who the referee is, he was a great referee. And Bruce managed the stage. He had his own stage presence, and he made sure, you know, not saying modern referees don't do it, but he was just so professional, so immaculate in the way he presented it, in the way he went about his business. You know, when doing finals as far back in 1980, Bobby George, Eric Bristow, that iconic final, he was the referee in that. And of course, prior to that was Jack Price. He come from a similar mould. Yeah. And of course, I knew Jack very, very well. He used to referee for the West of England. Yeah. When my father played, so yeah, I was lucky enough to have a lot of matches refereed by Bruce, and yeah, he was a dear friend, wonderful professional. Took absolutely no nonsense up on stage. No. And it was funny. I was looking back at a lovely moment. Of course, he did Phil's last ever World Championship, and that was his last ever. Yeah, he retired after that. 2013 Worlds. Yeah, and Kirk Bevins put an amazing picture up on Twitter, I think it was, because obviously, those who don't know, Kirk, one of the best referees around now, started off as a marker. Yes. Because again, his maths brain, don't mess with that. No. But he put a picture up, the camera precisely had Bruce refereeing, and Kirk was marking behind Bruce. It was just an amazing. Amazing picture. Those kind of things that make me miss Twitter, but not enough to go back on. No, yeah. Just a really nice touch from Kirk. And also Richard Ashdown did a wonderful tribute as well. I've seen on Facebook to him, and yeah, he was part of that original group with Tommy and Graham now, who's the tournament director. Yeah. Yeah, there was actually like this group that were involved. Going back. The late Phil Jones as well. Yeah, what an MC he was. Yeah, he was. Yes, I mean, being introduced by him and then refereed by Bruce was something that. And again, the whole package that Dave Lanning, Sidwell Dowell, that iconic dream team, if you will, of punditry and everything that goes with it. It's not until you lose someone you actually. And I was doing the same, and I watched a match. I watched just some highlights of a match, and it was Sid and Dave in comms. I was introduced by Phil Jones, and Bruce Spendley was doing the refereeing. Yeah, what more could you want? It's just. And you got to remember, I'm a darts fan, so growing up for me, doesn't get any better. I mean, there was no money in the sport then, and you literally played because you loved it. Yeah. And of course, they were part and parcel of the original split, of course. Yeah, massively. Because Tommy wanted to take the cream, the best with him. And he did. And Freddie, you know, another referee that sadly passed, Freddie Williams. Him and Bruce were just an absolute different gravy. Yeah, just again the tributes that were paid on social media. You can always tell the mark of a man when the tributes are through the roof. Yeah, and far and wide. Yeah, massively. From the other side of the pond. Yeah. Down under, and from everywhere. And from people, I've seen some lovely ones on Facebook from people that aren't necessarily dart players or just dart fans or just watch it on TV. Paid a lovely tribute to him. So yeah. Well, the one the one is important. Dennis Priestley doesn't tweet very often. No. When he tweets, you know it's not meaning. Yeah. Well, Dennis, of course, was part and parcel pretty much of probably over half of Bruce's career. Well, back in the early day, it was who's in the final. Who do you think? Yeah, Phil exactly. I think he did 15 of the first 20 PDC World Finals. Something like that. The stat was through the roof. Yeah, but yeah, he was a loyal servant, and of course was inducted into the Hall of Fame, which I'm yet to do, which I'm a little bit annoyed about. Just while you're touching on that, we spoke about this on the live lounge a few weeks ago. The Hall of Fame is something that's not used correctly. Forget the PDC Hall of Fame, but a darts Hall of Fame is not used correctly like it is. American sports actually use Hall of Fame so well. Is that something you'd like to see, an actual proper darts Hall of Fame? Yeah, something meaning behind it? Yeah, I was chatting to Peter McDonough, who does the voice from the corner. He has
Yeah.
a YouTube channel. He's a good pal of mine. He was actually at Milton Keynes when he collapsed with the brain tumor, of course, when we were there for the Masters. And we were. It's incredible about how close boxing and darts is in terms of what happens to a player when he's coming to the end of his career in both sports.
Yeah.
You're literally, you know, for some of us who managed to stay in the sport, but that was a conscious decision. People forget I was doing TV work in the 90s, mid 90s with Bobby, doing stuff at the embassy, looking back at historical moments in the sport. And then I was commentating with Sid and Dave and Gwynny in the late 90s. You know, I made a conscious decision that, well, my career could be over like that. I'm a darts fan. I want to stay in the sport. But for those that are, you know, most dart players aren't comfortable in front of the camera. You've got to see. You should know. You interview most of them.
Some of them are just like edgy as hell. Exactly. Because they don't like the environment.
They're going to have nothing else. You know, they're literally going to have nothing else.
Make your money and get out.
Gary Anderson, very smart. He's invested in a business and something he loves. Yeah. James Wade has the garage, which he's always had, so he's always got something to fall back on. Gezi Price now, but you've got to remember, they want the money for us to go around buying houses, to rent out and to get equity in and everything. We didn't have that money. You know, the only one person who made a load of money was Taylor. Yeah. And what did he do? Bought houses. Very smart. Has an income every month. You know, has a portfolio of property that I'd like 10% off. Thank you very much. And very much like boxing, there's just nothing there. You know, we don't see enough of the older players. Why isn't, with all due respect, they pull it? They pulled in Trina to do some commentary at the Worlds. You know, why aren't we seeing the likes of Dave Whitcomb and Dennis Priestley and Peter Everson, and you know, the list is endless. You know, not necessarily all the time, but you've got sort of 16 or 17 days of the Worlds. Let's see how many world champions are still about
and that want to do something,
or have won something in the PDC, and get them in each on a day. You know, if you want to do that, you know, they have the scope to do it. You know, we tried to do things like that when the ITV had the Slam. You know, we try and get Bob Anderson in for a chat. We've had Bob Anderson in at the UK Open on a couple of occasions. You know, we always try and encourage to get the older players in, but you know, it's just thing like what Jess does in the fan zone down at Butlins. You know, you get Peter Mangy, you get Bob Anderson, you get Dennis Priestley, you get Phil. There's just not enough done for those players that were unfortunate enough weren't in this era.
That's why the World Series is one, it's good, and two, it's so important.
It's massive. It is massive. I mean, you know, I don't play. I mean, I know there is darts out there. For me, and I mean this in the best possible. For me, the whole ethos of county darts is dead. I can't say that. I think international darts could still be viable, but I just don't see in its current configuration what the appeal of county darts is.
It just costs you money.
Yeah. Why are you going to waste 200 or 300 quid on a weekend to play county darts? And again, you know, how does it survive? Yeah. What is the attraction? Things like what Mad are doing could well force their hand. County darts needs a complete rethink for it to survive, in my opinion. So I don't want to play county darts. Super League darts, I'm fortunate. I play with a great bunch of lads and I enjoy it, and it's relatively local, so that's okay. But again, if I had an alternative that maybe then led to, we introduce Mad, that could get me in something else, that might tick a few boxes for me, because I'm not good enough to play at any kind of professional, semi-professional level, but I can still throw a dart from time to time, and I still do enjoy the competitive side to it from time to time. So with this seniors idea, you know, if it goes well and they roll out like they do in snooker, and we get a tour, maybe 12 events a year, that would be enough for me.
Yeah,
that would just
get your little fix, and
yeah, exactly. I'd get my fix, get up there, win the odd game, I hope. and would give me a bit of interest. And of course, my life's totally different to that as it was of a player. You know, I was loaded with medication. I had huge mental and personal problems, addiction problems, you know, health problems. So, you know, for me now, it'd be nice just to dip my little toe in it and, you know, and just have another bit of fun with it.
Speaking, obviously, we're talking about that.
And I speak on behalf of, apart from obviously the problems, a lot of players my age and older.
Touching on obviously like the amateur guy, as you have there, the WDF announced their World Championship. A lot of things said on social media. It's all getting a bit muddy and murky again, isn't it?
Well, again, let's start at the county. The Welsh have already thrown an iron in the works, haven't they? But yeah, it's getting a little complicated. Paul Nicholson did a very good piece on it just the other day. They have to be careful. They have to be careful. I don't think there's enough to go around, and I think the biggest problem is you start to dilute a product. You're not going to dilute the PDC.
Forget that. That professional games in safe hands.
Yeah,
forget that.
Different level.
It's underneath that.
You ain't going to dilute this because it's just a functional,
well
mapped out, well thought idea that is attractive to players and fans. This is totally separate. Takes care of itself. County darts, again, all messy. And then you've got Mad, right? Which the launch time during a pandemic and everything else was never going to be a good look.
Well, no, of course, yeah.
And then on the other side of the coin, BDO dying, yet you've got that idiot continuing to say, "Oh no, it's alive and kicking." No, it's not. It's dead. It's done. Right? The WDF have always been the governing body of the sport. They've sort of had a restructure, a rethink, a rejig. You know, Richard's obviously working hard on it, so there's a lot of other people. And I like the fact that they didn't announce anything until they had something to announce that was concrete. Putting the world's traditionally where it is, I can sort of say, yeah, maybe or maybe not. It may only clash for 1 or 2 days. You got to remember the time of the year. You got to remember the broadcaster. The broadcaster ultimately decides everything. Because without broadcasters' money, it ain't happening, right?
Yeah.
And without a broadcaster, it ain't happening. Period. So may only clash for the final.
I think 3 days personally.
We don't know yet, do we? I hope not.
I think looking at.
I hope the final falls. I hope they do the final on New Year's Day.
I think looking at it, I think the PDC final will be on the Monday because it's bank holiday. So you can have quarterfinals on the Saturday, the first 2 double session.
Yeah.
Semi-finals on the second, final on the first. We don't know that, but that's
I
what
see where you're going. I mean, that's just unfortunate. Do the people that go to Ali Pali are the same demographic as the people that will go to Lakeside? I don't think so. Right? They've always been slightly different. I think how do they market it? How do they attract an audience? Never mind how do they get the qualifiers, because that's even more difficult because of this bloody, whatever it's called, pandemic, COVID, whatever you want to call it. I fear for both Matt. I don't have any fear for the WDF, right? You got to remember, they are a global entity with thousands and thousands of members, right? They will always survive. And instead of it being under a BDO banner now, it's under a much safer WDF banner. Now, MAD has to find a way of slipping into that other void. So replacing Super League, replacing county. So I think they all have their place, but I think they all need to communicate. I'd hate to see that whole messy clash of
that's my issue. And just judging my comments on social media,
which you see, I don't,
and interviews that I've heard from all parties. This isn't just one. This is from all parties.
Okay.
From the outside looking in, they don't want to work with each other.
That's a shame.
Look, I'm not saying that's right, but from what we've heard from parties and the way it's been communicated and the way it sounds, that we're doing our stuff.
Yeah, although I don't know anything about that. I've known Steve Brown since he was a tiny little boy, and
I get on well with Richard. I get on well with
yeah,
Steve, but just listening to both parties.
Yeah, I would think we won't be far off them both sitting down, going out and having a dinner, and just
Look, as a darts fan more than anything.
There's a place for both.
Because just recently, the bits that have been said as a fan, it was like,
well,
it felt like '93 all over again.
Yeah, that's the problem with social media. You can say something and it can be slightly
100%. That's what I said. That's what I said. But just from a fan point of view, just listening and watching.
Yeah, I think everything will be fine. I mean, ultimately, the Gibraltar had a ranking event, didn't it, that Mad put on, and it was WDF points. So again, that's a step in the right direction because they both need each other. Whichever way they look at it, you've got to. I know how stubborn Steve is, right, and how strong-minded he is. If he puts his something in, he wanted that JDC to work. That was his idea. That was his baby for years and years and years, and it's now just an incredible thing. And he's going to do the same with Mad. Whether people like it or not, they don't like the belts, they don't like this, they don't like that. Oh, it's not as good as Phil Taylor, it's not as good as this. No, it's not. But they're not professional dart players. I can't believe the lack of support for these things because we all can't be De Souza. I'd love to be him. I'd love to be Gezi Price. But we're not. That's it.
My biggest issue is there's not room for two amateur world champions.
No.
And they both announced world championships.
Yes, but the WDF is no longer the World Professional Darts Championships. It's the WDF World Championships.
Amateur.
There's no amateur name in the title. Where modern amateur darts world champion.
In sport, you're either a pro or you're an amateur.
I'd say
let's be brutally honest. In sport,
yeah,
you're either a pro or an amateur.
I think anybody who knows anything about the WDF system or what was BDO or whichever angle you take it from, know that for what it is. And again, I think that sits different to what Mad are doing, which is why I think they can work. They both have a place. And I totally get what you're saying. You can't have two amateur world champions.
Yeah.
That's like having two Olympics.
Exactly.
But as long as they market them and they make the public or the fans understand what they are, then I don't think there'll be an issue. I'm trying to do a comparison in boxing. So we've got the WBSS, the Usyk smashed Joe Joyce.
The World Boxing Super Series.
No, not that. Not the one that the Sauerlands did. So they don't wear head guards.
Oh right, yeah.
But they wear slightly bigger gloves.
Yeah.
But that's not amateur. But it is.
I think it's very muddy at the moment.
So do you know what I'm saying?
I do.
So you had that. So someone set that up. Let's say it's the. I can't remember what it's called. It sounds like the World Boxing Super Series, but I don't think it's called that because that was the one that Josh Taylor and Sauerlands did. Yeah, the Ali Trophy and all that.
Yeah.
But it's like that, but it's for amateurs. You can't be a pro in boxing it, but it's not the same as winning the European Amateur Championships or the World Amateur Championships or the Olympics. So there is a place. There is a place out there. It's just slotting each one in where they belong, and both have good relationships with Matt Porter, and the thing is with Matt and Barry and Eddie, the doors are always open to them people. And for God's sake, take advantage of that.
If they're giving you advice, then
if the idiots that were running the BDO would have had 1 ounce of common sense and gone to Barry and go, well, what do we do with this shit? We've messed it up. He'd have gone, right, leave it to me. Just do what I tell you to do, and it'll work out. But we know the rest is
history. Go and jump into the chat room. What was that? Good little one.
Does Christian BC needs to change which events are now ranked and not ranked? Yeah, it's awkward though. That's a minefield. Personally, the Masters, I'd convince ITV to go on the Thursday night. for one session, I'd have 28, 4 qualifiers, 32 player field ranking. End of problem. I don't mind the idea of every year whoever wins the Masters is not in the Premier League gets it, so they only announce 9 spots. I like that, but I prefer
that made the Masters more relevant this year. Having that carrot was a massive.
And we didn't know. We genuinely didn't know.
No.
We're literally, myself and Jackie were up on the, up on our raised area. We get a message from Dave Allen and Matt Porter saying, "Oh, by the way, winner this
is in
the Premier League." And we were like, "What?" And of course, we couldn't tell the players.
No.
Because that would have just put them off and probably ruined the final. And then the Premier League. Good luck. I've not seen a solution. I've seen a bit that you did with Paul regarding it. I've seen a couple of interviews he's done and some stuff in writing. Is there a solution for how often the problem crops up? But one thing Matchroom and the PDC do, if there ever a problem arises, they make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
That's something that they've done very well over the years. You sort of go, "Oh, that never happened." Oh God,
it happens.
So yeah, I think the Premier League, you just listen, you leave it as it is. I'd probably put more players in it personally, but I think it's over too quick. I don't think it's particularly great value for the punter. I don't think it's on TV long enough. I'd like to see 12 players in it personally. Yeah, that's the only change I'd make.
Yeah,
put more players in. And again, the Masters. Listen, everything's set up on Thursday in there. It's ready to go. Give us a Thursday night session. Add another 8 players to it. Maybe do top 28 in the world like we used to have years ago.
4 qualifiers.
4 qualifiers and rank it.
Yeah. Don't disagree. Was a question about the Super Series. Race for Blackpool. Realistically, there's probably only 2 spots left in there.
Yes.
With 4 to go, I can only see 15 and 16 being caught.
Yes. Yeah, same as. Especially looking at a lot of form going into it. There's nobody, it's the usual suspects pulling up the trees. Joe Cullen was fabulous on Monday.
Oh,
and he won the last one, didn't he?
No, because he didn't go to Niederhausen, did he?
Oh, right, okay. Did he win the one before that? He did go to.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
he missed the block.
And then De Souza on the Tuesday. That 127 average was just mind blowing.
It's like a roller coaster watching it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Brilliance isn't usually too far away, but he can be got to. He can be got to. Taylor would have loved playing him. Absolutely would have loved playing him because you can get him at it, and that's when he starts to make mistakes.
When the miscounts come in and the ball management issues then start.
Yeah, he's not. He's literally.
Oh, when he's on, it's ridiculous.
Like the majority of them.
Oh yeah, but when they're on playing.
When they're on now, they're just play at a different level. We've seen it from Joe Cullen on the Monday.
He has to be in next year's Premier League. Sorry.
I'd again make it 12. Problem solved. You've got to see players like him in it. Listen, he ticks every box that you want for a Premier League player. He's showbiz, good-looking lad, looks after himself.
Good on hockey,
good in interviews, funny fella, got a good sense of humour, personality. It's tons of 180s. Ain't shy to go for a 170 when it's on, or any shot like that, or a double-double. He's made for the Premier League, in my opinion. I can sort of get why they've not put him in. But I believe he's that performance in the Worlds and everything else since then.
He believes in himself.
And then one thing I was really pleased to see, because I was beginning to worry about him, was Peter Wright.
Yeah, he bounced back really, really well here.
I don't know what darts he used Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
He flitted between. He did change, but it looked as if it was the diamonds or the world ones. Right, okay. The 2 ones that worked. There was no stupid darts.
I watched the final with you as well on the live lounge
and he was just so solid.
Yeah, 109 in the final. Yeah. I mean, that's
one of the plus points for me as well, especially over the last 2 days. Adrian Lewis.
Yes,
that is a big plus. The numbers, the manner of the performances.
Yeah.
It's like we've been waiting 5 years for this.
Maybe eventually he's knuckled down a bit and starting to graft. I mean, Listen, it's been a problematic couple of years for him, and he's not made a lot of money. And they can only, although he's done very well in the sport, he surely doesn't have a bottomless pit. So he could well have reached a stage where he's gone, do you know what? The shit's hit the fan here. I need to find some form. I need to put some graft in. And every time I spoke to him, and then Craig, he's been, listen, I've been putting the graft in. I've watched a little bit of him practice, and kept an eye on his performances. Does blow a little bit hot and cold, but was blowing hotter than
the new darts look nice as well.
Yeah. I was impressed with him. He looked dangerous from day one.
Yeah,
and good to see. We need a good Adrian Lewis again. What is he? Early 30s.
How is it criminal that he's around the 32 mark in the world? It's just like, how is Adrian Lewis there?
I know. But again, some people need that to happen before the light bulb moment.
Yeah, when you hit rock bottom and you realise everything. To be fair, Kim Hybrex did a really good interview in the Worlds, and he said, I know it now, but when you're in that top 16, you're a spoiled brat. And he said, now I'm out of it, I can see what I was like as well.
I've made my opinion clear. Like I said, there's players in that top 32 and they act like they're
7 times world champ.
Yeah, and they ain't. They literally have achieved, some of them won as many tournaments as me. But you see them swanning around, and they act like they're already world champions, and that's because of the financial rewards, and they have their ass wiped for them, don't they? They think they're special before they are.
Yeah.
But that's in a way that's a great problem to have.
Oh, massively.
Players earning bundles of money. It's nice. It does make me laugh when I do go to places like Milton Keynes and I look at the car park. I used to go to the snooker a lot, and I'd see, I remember when Mark Williams bought a Ferrari, and what else? He bought a Noble, and then you see like Porsches, and you're like, wow, look at that. Now when I go to a big Q7
Range Rover, private plate.
Yeah, that massive thing that Gary's got, that big American truck thing. And I'm like,
he put monster truck wheels on that. He should do. It'll be a trade-off.
Yeah. So it's it's a great problem to have. I'm chuffed to listen. I'm chuffed to bits. I've done all right. Thanks very much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Certainly not out of darts physically playing, but outside of that, I couldn't be happier. And of course, the more darts there is, the more money there is to go around for everybody.
And I think one thing we haven't spoken about, and we will do now, next week, Champions Week. We're going to end it. We'll go back to where we started. Champions Week next week. 3 places up for grabs. I know you've got the list there.
Yes.
Of who is already there.
Yeah. So the winner and the runner-up and the winner of 3rd and 4th playoff tonight will be added to these 9 players.
Yeah.
And of course, we have Week 1 winner, which was Martin Adams. He's waiting in the wings for next week. Week 2, who was mustard, Colin Osborne, wasn't it? Absolutely
solid
outstanding.
as a rock.
Conan Whitehead, again, great to see him back into some kind of
played himself into some really good form.
He did, and that's the beauty of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the beauty of it. You've got time to really play yourself into some form. Look at Warby, came in last minute, although coming in the end of Group A, then boom, gets another chance to nearly qualify for the finals. Then we've got Joe Davis, Chaz Barstow, Jamie Clark, Scott Marsh, Jared Cole, and Greg Ritchie in for Niall Cullerton.
Because Niall can't get the time off work.
Can't get the time off work, sadly.
Greg Ritchie takes his
He's the next.
play.
He was the next best player.
He's the next one from that group. That comes in.
You add any 3 of.
Well, the scary
James Richardson, Kevin Burness, and Richie Burnett into.
The scary thing is tonight is potentially who's going to miss out.
Yeah.
Madness.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. 3 of the players of that incredible 6 that's up there tonight from 10 o'clock are going to miss out.
Yeah. Someone's just asked there. I've got here what the schedule is for Champions Week. So Group A, Monday to Wednesday morning, will be Martin Adams, Colin Osborne, Conan Whitehead. The winner and runner-up of tonight will be Group A, and they will play Monday to Wednesday in the mornings. The winner and runner-up have obviously got bites at the cherry because they've earned that right.
Yep.
Where the third is that I've only got 1 bite at the cherry because
they're in the 2-day group.
2-day group. So that is it. And then in the Group C, which is Thursday and Friday morning will be Scott Marsh, Jared Cole, Greg Ritchie, and then obviously the ones coming in from Group A.
Yeah.
And then in the evening, Chaz Barstow, Jamie Clark are the other two that come in. The one name that really jumps off this page for me is Jared Cole.
Yeah, again, he's another player that we've watched sort of evolve in front of our very eyes.
From his conservatory where he was melting.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of people told me he was talented. Obviously, I'd seen him about certain things and seen a few results of his, prior to that. But yeah, I've literally been watching him play darts for nearly a year.
Yeah.
I've had loads of sit downs and chats with him. He's a lovely fellow,
level-headed lad,
like a sponge.
Yeah.
Like a sponge, and I said to him, it's about tiny little percentages now, and he's a baby. He's 20 years of age. I didn't even get back into the sport until I was sort of 23, 24. I quit at 17, so he's miles ahead. Yeah. Absolutely miles ahead.
Talent.
And the throws getting better. We discussed about making it a little bit softer, so it's a little bit more easy to replicate. And he has done that. He's implemented that.
Yeah.
I'm taking no credit. It's just like I say to him. I say to all the players, if I notice something, I said it's Colin Osborne. He's a really good pal of mine. I'd have to know them well. Yeah. And Colin I've known for years. Listen, we were around at the same time for a few years, and I said to him, just when you pick up the tempo a little bit and there's a bit more rhythm,
the scores come.
The 180s come, and again he implemented that. And someone said there, who have I been impressed with? I love Beveridge. I love to throw. I think there's so much more to come from him. He's impressed me. Colin Osborne really impressed me in week 2.
Jamie Clark massively impressed me. He got better and better and better.
Yeah, well, I had my head in the convertible that week. So.
Yeah. He was like, Monday didn't do it, but he just seemed to get better.
Yeah, I was tracking the results.
And then come finals night, it was like played some really, really good stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. They're a lot of the the ones that are just above are very equally matched.
Oh, completely.
If you had to match them up in a head-to-head, that'd be a tough gig to do, because I want to put him against him, and
you're matchmaking like Eddie does in the boxing.
Yeah, you're trying to matchmake them. They are 50-50s, and tonight is a perfect example.
Laura's in the chat room. The John O'Shea fan club is in. The Jokers are there. So no, we will after Champions Week. No week off. We are going straight back in through week 6 after baseball. Jumping straight back in, mate.
I'm off on holiday for a week, and then I'm back for week 6 and 7 because Nico will be covering the Super Series 5.
Yes.
At Bolton.
No, Coventry.
All right. I can't keep up. In week 7.
Yeah.
So we will be doing the live league up until about 1:45, and then 2 o'clock onwards, you'll be able to watch the
Super Series
on the live lounge.
That's what we do.
Someone said something about Jermaine's watching weight loss, although beneficial health-wise, could affect his game because he's lost some power in his throw. That's not how it works. How does fat relate to muscle power?
It's more balance more than anything.
Yeah, but because he's done it slowly.
Yeah, he looks brilliant, by the way.
When Phil did it, he went on some kind of crash nonsense cabbage diet and lost about 4 stone in
2 weeks.
Yeah, and of course his balance was all to shit, which will happen.
Yeah, if you do it right, do it slow. It's not a problem.
Exactly. Yeah, you've got pound and a half a week, and he's done it right, Jermaine, and he does, and he's worked on his fitness as well. So of course his core strength is improved, so he's got more balance overall.
Yeah, no, he looks great.
So his game will improve. Colin Wilborn was a finalist in the British Open. No, not the British Open.
Yeah, UK Open he was.
UK Open.
We can have nearly an hour and 10 minutes, mate. We're smashing it again.
Any more, or is that all?
I think that's just about it, guys. You guys have been absolutely on it.
Tell your friends
today.
They always say everybody's got plenty to say. You should come on and we can debate and talk and try and come up with some solutions.
Remember, it is all live from 10 o'clock. Online Darts YouTube channel, Sporty Stuff TV channel
437.
It is
Sky.
On Sky, yeah, it is. We have all the action covered. Mace will be calling it in. I will be grabbing a few words with the winner in here afterwards, whoever that is. But thank you very much for joining us as always. I've been Phil Bars, joined by Mace the Ace, Chris Mason, and we will see you live at 10 o'clock.